Hey guys, it's Boyan, and today we're doing DOKKAEBI. In this video, we're going to be talking about her kit, gadget, counters, how to play her, tips, and ranking her. So, if you enjoy these types of videos, why not subscribe, and don't forget to tell me which operator you will be mastered next. Of course, let's just begin. First off, DOKKAEBI's kit. DOKKAEBI is a 1 armor 3 speed operator and has access to the EBR DMR and the Boss G slug shotgun as her primary options. She also has access to either the SMG-11, Gun 6 or C75 auto pistol as her secondary options. As well for secondary gadgets, she has the access between EMP grenades, flashbangs or smoke grenades. Finally, her primary gadget is the logic bomb. DOKKAEBI's best loadout, in my opinion, is the EBR, SMG-11, and flashes. First off, while the Boss G is a strong gun, especially on visual who I play, it's not as strong on DOKKAEBI. You might think, aren't they the same gun? But for one, you're only given 2 shots with the Boss G while the EBR gives you 20 rounds. As well, the EBR has little to no recoil compared to the Boss G, which has a lot. And as well, the EBR does a lot of damage. Yes, the Boss G does a lot of damage, like I said before, but the EBR is able to 2-shot, which is pretty much a 1-shot, so yeah. This is important considering all these factors, because when you swing people, you'll want to fire a lot of people, but you can't do that if you don't have bullets or even able to hit them. Generally, you want to be holding angles with the Boss G, but that doesn't work on attack since you're going to be the one pushing, not holding. So that's why, in my opinion, the EBR is better than the Boss G. Next, use the SMG-11. The C75 Auto is one of the worst machine pistols in the game, somehow worse than Aurora's machine pistol. And the main reason why this gun is horrible is the iron sights. Now, the SMG-11 is a really good gun. This has one of the fastest fire rates in the game, does decent damage for its fire rate, and has 0 recoil. Oh, sorry, I have my Cronus plugged in. Let me do this. There's its real recoil. Yeah, so the trade-off of this gun is the recoil. However, most people cheat in this game, which is cringe, but if you learn the recoil of this gun, it's fun to use and it's great to use. Oh yeah, I also forgot she had the Gun 6. Don't use this. If you use this, you have cognitive. Finally, flashes are the best options for DOKKAEBI. Not much to say there. Better than impact EMPs, which aren't useful really, and smoke grenades don't really support her playstyle. So just use stun grenades. Now we're going to be talking about a gadget, the logic bomb. The logic bomb is quite a complex gadget as it has 2 parts to it. First off, we're going to be discussing its main part, which is of course the logic bomb. DOKKAEBI is able to initiate a call that all defenders still alive will receive. This takes about 5 seconds to initiate, and this will cause a loud buzzing sound to all defenders' locations. This call will last for 12 seconds, however defenders can end it faster by shutting down their phones. However, they will have to put their weapons away and will be unable to move, making them vulnerable while doing this. Defenders can access cameras and are kicked off when the call is initiated. Only once the call ends in any way can they go back on the cameras. The phone's sound varies from distance, as it's noticeable from 20 meters away but starts to fade and be unhearable from 25. The call can be heard from different rooms, however sound will affect differently depending on if you're in an open room or you're in a closed room, all that. You can hear people above you, for example here in Chalet. However, if I go inside the room, then it'll become harder. So remember, if you're in a big open room, you'll be able to be heard from multiple different rooms. But if you're in an enclosed room, for example, kitchen into hallway and that, I won't be able to hear you from the other side of the wall. As well, the sounds will also be different if you're playing on a new remastered map in Siege X or an old map, since you'll have the new audio effects in that. As well, soft walls block sound, however if the wall is destroyed, sound can go through, meaning you can hear people in that. However, barricades don't seem to block any sound and will just phase through. DOKKAEBI is given 2 charges of the logic bomb, however it starts with 0 and they unlock it over time like a zombie. It takes about 40 seconds for 1 charge and will take about a minute 30 for DOKKAEBI to have both her charges. Now, one thing that is unique about DOKKAEBI is she's the only operator in the game to affect dead players. When her call is active, DOKKAEBI is able to kick everyone off cams, including dead players. While for live defenders, if they end the call they can go back on cams, dead defenders can't end the call, so they have to wait 12 seconds before they can go on cams. Overall, that's most to how the logic bomb works, but there's still a second part to the camera hack. Now, the second part of DOKKAEBI's ability is a camera hack, allowing her to have access to defenders' cameras and even take partial control of them. Whenever a defender dies by any means in the match, they will drop a phone on the ground. This phone only spawns when DOKKAEBI is selected in the match. DOKKAEBI will be notified by the phone and its location with a yellow phone icon. This icon can be seen from anywhere, from any distance. Whenever DOKKAEBI interacts with it, it will take DOKKAEBI 5 seconds to hack with the phone before she's finished with it. Once the phone is hacked, she and her team will get access to all cameras of the defenders. Whether it's defaults, bulletproofs, or black eyes, all defender cams are now shared between attackers and defenders. However, you won't get control of the camera's ability, like Mozzie drones are able to move, or evil eyes are able to shoot people, just to look around. Defenders still has access to the cameras, so both sides have them. Defenders will also know they're hacked as they will hear a voice line from DOKKAEBI, as well as their cameras having DOKKAEBI's symbol on them. As well, attackers are also given priority over cameras. This means that they'll be given to controls rather than defenders. However, defenders who own that gadget will take it over the attackers. So if the camera is a black eye, Valkyrie will have the most priority over it, before attackers will get it, and then any alive defender to any dead defender. The only gadget that does not apply to this is bulletproof cameras. You can also see if a camera is currently being used by attacker, as it will glow as that team's color. And you can tell if a camera has not been used by attacker last, as its color will change to the last team that used that camera. Wow, okay, that was a lot of information, but now let's just get to our next chapter. DOKKAEBI counters pretty much all roamers like Visual and Cav, as the phone rings, allowing you to pinpoint their location, allowing you to enter the map, notifying you if a roamer is nearby, and pinpoint their location. This is great if you just either want to get straight into sight, not having to slow down looking for corners, or just making sure no one's behind you, or you could do this for just roamer hunting. As well, any intel ops are also hard countered by this, since one, attackers are going to be able to use their cams and see them, and generally that then usually falls on defenders because now most of their cameras are going to be in sight, and that hurts them because now attackers will know where they're holding in sight. As well, her call shuts down their abilities for 12 seconds, which hurts operators like Scopos, who has to teleport using her camera, or Maestro, who could use his cameras to stop a plant but now can't because it's down for 12 seconds. Now we're going to talk about operators that counter DOKKAEBI. And first up is Mute. Mute is a great counter since his signal jammers are able to block any calls that is made by DOKKAEBI. Whether an attacker is inside of them or walks into them during the call will not go off if you're in the radius of the Mute jammer. This is great and counters DOKKAEBI pretty good, however usually you're going to have your Mute jammers in sight and already placed, so it only affects people in sight, which is when the logic bomb is least effective. Next is Two-Brow and works similarly to Mute, where if you walk into his Kaido canisters, the call will immediately end. This is better for Two-Brow as he's already a strong character to roam with since he counters already to like Jackal and Deimos. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how to play her, and this is going to be way shorter than how to use a gadget, but basically First off, you need to know if you have to bring DOKKAEBI, if there's any roamers, and second, if there's any camera operators. If there's no roamers, like no one's playing any characters that you would usually roam with, and there's no real intel characters they're playing in that, there's no real need to bring DOKKAEBI. You could just pick someone else. I know a lot of people just like playing her for her guns, but generally, like, you're just wasting like an operator that could counter their other ops if you bring DOKKAEBI, because her main gadget, like the call, is mainly there just to, you know, see if anyone's roaming and to find them and for flank watch and all that, you know, to find people's positions. But it's not going to be useful if everyone's playing in sight, because you already know generally where people are going to be in sight. And second, there's no camera operators. Hacking most default cams aren't going to be useful. There's only a few sites where default cams are, and when defenders find out, oh, they have our cameras now, half the time they just shoot their own cameras, and then you get no use out of your gadget, because they don't really lose util when their own default cams are destroyed. They're going to be destroyed anyways, so it doesn't matter to them if they destroy them. So that's the only time I would pick DOKKAEBI in that. And so it's important to know to pick characters that you're not going to get countered by, like Mute or Two Brow, since they both counter you and make your gadget kind of useless when it's supposed to be. So just keep that in mind, but you shouldn't swap them out just for those two unless Two Brow is roaming and you know that. Then yeah, like, I guess you can't pick gadget then. As well, try to find what part of the map that people usually like play on, because you want to play DOKKAEBI to get those people that are roaming, so you can get a 1v1 situation with them, and then you have intel on them, well, they don't. That's the best part using DOKKAEBI, just to know where people are. And there's no point of using your logic bomb just to get to site, because then you have your drone. If a lot of people are like, oh, I can use a gadget to get to site safely, but then why don't you just use your drone to clear your path and then push with that, and that gives you a different operator you can play with util in that. You want to use a gadget to find people, not make sure there's no people there. So yeah, while the call does help you pinpoint where they're going to be, you don't want to use it for just finding the general direction. You want to use it in a gunfight, because their sound is going to be dampened and they won't be able to hear your footsteps, and you won't be able to hear their footsteps, but you'll know where they are because of the call either way, and that makes sound for them harder because that's playing over them. And the reason why you want to find them first with your drone is because if you find them where their drone is, then you still have a charge left to get close to them and see where they reposition, because you drone them out, call them, and then you know where they are, and then start a gunfight with them. As well, DOKKAEBI's ability comes over time, so the best thing to do is to get much value as your gadget can. So play smart and try not to die. Don't put yourself in stupid positions. Try to use your gadget to assist your team, and if your team kills a defender, make sure to get that cam access. And if you don't, use the cams, because it can help your team when they're dead or alive, and it's way better to have intel for your dead teammates to be using than no util and your teammates just watching you backseat gaming. Because as long as you have cameras, give your dead teammates something to do. Okay, now we're going to talk about tips to DOKKAEBI, and this is just going to help you basically learn how to play when DOKKAEBI is in the match. And my first tip isn't even for DOKKAEBI, but to play against her, and that is to destroy cameras. If you know DOKKAEBI has access to cams, make sure to destroy cameras that are inside sight. Mainly cameras that reveal your position, this way attackers don't know where everyone is holding or what site setup is. Well, it's also important to destroy outside cameras. You should also leave them if no one is playing outside of the site or near those cameras, since attackers aren't going to get any value of those cameras like defenders are, because they'll know if they're like outside of sight now, but obviously you won't be outside of sight. Tip 2 is to use a gadget when making plays. When defender team is majority dead and you still have charges of the gadget, try use your gadget when you're about to make a play. Do this since dead defenders are blocked off cams, allowing you to move without being seen. To note as well, defenders' locations will be revealed to you, and if they're interacting with their phone, you can get a free kill. Okay, so tip 3 is to let your team play around her. Not that way, you freak. Have your team help you when roam clearing by using utility and flushing out enemy roamers, and even if you die, you can trade afterwards. This is one of the best ways to play Dokkaebi, especially if a friend that plays like another character like Jackal or Deimos. You both can find every roamer in the map and just just tackle them at one moment, and you will 100% most of the time win both your gunfights. Finally, my fourth tip is to use your SMG more than your DMR. Well, the EBR is a good gun, it's semi-automatic, and when you have a SMG that has the fastest fire rate in the game, it's great for gunfights. It's really important to use this gun to win gunfights, since you have a higher chance of having one of your bullets hit their head, but also help you improve your vehicle control. So use her SMG 11, kind of like a primary, and her DMR as a secondary. Now my final tip is to make sure to hack cams as fast as possible. Remember, you don't have to kill an enemy for a phone to spawn. As long as the defender dies, their phone will drop. So the best for your team is to get their phone as soon as possible, even if your teammates are not dead. They'll probably will die, so make sure to get the phone as soon as possible so your team could watch the flank or just give general info for you and your alive teammates, and even if you die, you can give your teammates information too. Generally, the camera hack is a really forgotten part of a kit. Okay, so after all of that, what would I rank Dokkaebi? Well, first off, Dokkaebi is a great operator. She has a DMR as her primary option, which is good, but the fact that she has one of the best SMGs in the game just makes her better. Not to forget, she got flashes, which makes her good for gunfights, and finally her ability is really strong. She has 2 counters, which aren't that popular, and her gadget is really strong. The fact that it's a 2-in-1 ability just makes her even better and better as an option to play her. With all of this in mind, Dokkaebi is an easy S. If you're able to master her, she is a great and strong operator that's able to affect the team globally and give so much intel to your team. She is probably one of the best intel ops in the game and one of the best anti-rooms, since she doesn't get counted that hard by other operators in that. Anyways, that was it for the video. If you like it, why not subscribe and leave a like on the video. Everything you do, whether you watch it to the end, helps me so much, so thank you for getting this far in the video. Don't forget to comment who you want to be mastered next, and if you want more types of these videos, don't forget to subscribe. Boyan out.